Good day, everyone. So today, we are going to have our fourth unit to be discussed. There will be two parts for this unit. So as you can see in the PowerPoint presentation I have, it says here, communicating authentic assessment results, Unit 4A. So there will be Unit 4B. So that will come up next week. Okay. So, however, what exactly is this unit focusing on when it comes to authentic assessment? Well, of course, same with ASL 1, we should always have the ways to communicate these results. So it doesn't matter if it's an authentic result or authentic assessment result or a traditional assessment result. um, Communicating is definitely important, that we should be vigilant and we should be guided on how to communicate the assessment results, whether it be the student who will communicate those results, or the teacher will be the one to share these results. So in this unit, we will learn how to properly communicate and ways to communicate the assessment results, whether authentic or traditional. So first question is, what is communication? Communication is a tool with which we exercise our influence on others, bring out changes in our and others' attitudes, motivate the people around us, and establish and maintain relationships with them. Communication makes a major part of our active life and is a social activity. This social activity is pursued verbally through speech, reading, and writing, or non-verbally through body language. So when we talk about communication, we will always communicate day to day, especially inside our classroom. So you as students, and you are aspiring to become teachers. So as of this moment, you should know how to communicate well with your teachers on what your assessment results are all about, whether it will be questioning, or whether it will be verifying, or whether it will be confirming about these different results. Also, being a future teacher, so again, we have to have guidelines on how to do it. So from this slide, it talks more about the communication resulting into the attitude of someone that we communicate to. Um, motiv- when we communicate, we motivate them, rather than putting them down or making them bad about the results. And of course, body language is also very, very important. So of course, why do we communicate? So we communicate to persuade. So it means that we want someone to do something, and this desire of ours is communicated. The mother patting the child to stop crying, the advertiser displaying a model and a new t-shirt, and the politician um, urging his audience to vote for him, and all having the same objective of persuading while communicating it differently. To communicate is to persuade. What is the reason? I mean, what is the purpose of communicating if you don't have the desire to make them believe and understand, and perhaps be convinced of what you're saying? So you always have to uh, co- do your best to persuade the people you are communicating to. So we communicate in order to give or provide information. So the science teacher demonstrating an experiment, the bank announcing a reduction in interest rates, and the financier minister and presenting the budget are all communicating to provide information. So same with inside our classroom. So we communicate when it comes to assessment results. Maybe we can recall those times that we uh, we asked we got the communication from our teachers about our scores, our grades, and then how did they go about it? Whether did we like it or did we not? So you will be put onto the task code once you will become teachers yourselves. Okay. So we communicate seeking information. So a passerby asking you the way to the post office. The student asking the teacher for some clarification, or the investigating policeman making discreet and inquiries, are all seeking information by using this communication skill. We communicate to express our emotions to like for courage or fear, joy or sorrow, satisfaction or disappointment with appropriate gestures and words. Some people have unlimited skill to emote, such as display emotions, and to suit the occasion. Our politicians are capable of emoting well, which by itself is a communication skill. Yeah, I mean, we talk about politics, diba? Um, their politicians are expected to be very, very good communicators, and by that we tend to get convinced in voting them. And according to e-learning industry, the following are 6 tips in communicating with others effectively. So of course, you have to listen. Next one is you have to come alongside the other person and don't give unwanted advice. Check your tone and body language. Be real. It's not about you. So maybe we can recall the Benlack subject, di ba? There was the communication literacy in where our in where we are taught on how to properly communicate. We have to be we have to be mindful of what we are saying. We have to be tactful with the things that is coming out of our mouth, even though that action speaks louder than words. But words will also hurt other people. So it will also hurt your students. So saying bad things towards your students is really a big no-no for me. For example, telling your students that they're stupid. So that is a big no-no. Your attention might be called, especially if the parent of that child will definitely file a complaint against you. So that's why there is always a nicer way to say no or to spill the bad information. So we can always do it positively, especially that we are educated, especially that we go to schools expectedly. We know the good manners and right conduct. So especially in how we communicate, we should also know these things. Okay, so that's why you have to be mindful. And we are often poor judges of our own communication. So we may be certain of a message, its meaning and intent, and may assume that the message will be clear to the receiver. Without guidelines in place, evaluating our own messages may prove to be a subjective exercise. It's helpful, therefore, to have some objective standards by which to measure them. The following are the main characteristics for a quality and effective message. Of course, the simpler the better, so simplicity. In order to ensure that our messages have simplicity, we should ask ourselves 2 questions. Is my purpose evident, or is my core message clear? So maybe that's the reason why you cannot properly get connected with each other. It is because it is not evident what you are really wanting to happen. Or another thing, or another thing, you're not really able to communicate the what you really want to say. It's not really clear. For example, you see your crush. So what happened if you see them and then they will try to talk to you? So you cannot really give a very clear answer because you're already tense. Okay, so that's why really have to make the communication clear. And how are you going to manage your message properly, ensuring that it is already a quality type of message? So you have to be specific. So in order to ensure language is specific, we may ask ourselves, is my language specific? Is my language concrete rather than abstract? Are there connotative meanings to the words I have chosen? If so, do these emotional associations serve or go against my purpose? Am I using words which have additional meanings and could perhaps be misconstrued? So that's why we have to be along with the word simple. So of course, we have to be specific. So maybe avoid the flowering words, avoid the introduction. Just say what you want to say. Yan. Walang paligoy-ligoy pa. And of course, the structure refers to how ideas should be logically organized and easy to follow. Diba? So we have the one, that's why we study language, specifically English. That's the basic, and where we are taught how to construct the proper sentence, the subject verb agreement, and so on, and those other ways on how to construct your sentence or your statement. Diba? So of course, dili ta nga mag-kuan, mag-jump to one thought to another. So of course, we have to make sure that we are properly, I can say our condition, body condition is of course um, at best so that um, we can communicate properly and of course make the communication structure strong, and through that the person you're communicating to will definitely understand. So what is interpersonal dynamics? It refers to the way in which a person's body language, facial expression, and other nonverbal mannerisms support a verbal message in one-on-one or interpersonal communication. And by this, how are we going to manage this? Well, um, compared to call center, it's more on the the rise and fall of your communication, that you are encouraged not to have this monotonous communication towards your customers, diba? So if you're a call center agent, you're not really allowed to be monotonous, so you really have to be alive when you take a call, okay? Because of course that will show that you are interested in assisting the customer. So as with within the classroom, that you really have to, in order for us to show sincerity towards communicating to this person, so we really have to have this body language or facial expression that we have to show. For example, oh, ma'am, sorry ma'am, na-absent po kay nagsakit akong kuan, ako ang mama. And then ikaw karon nga teacher, you're not in good mood, and what happens? Of course, your interpersonal dynamics won't really show there. Okay, so may ka, okay. Diba? So of course you have to of course you have to sympathize or emphasize with your students. So maybe you will wish your or her mother well, no? Wala mao ba miss, diba? Nakakuan good. When did this happen? Ngano na nga naman sa si mama nimo. O, di ba? So kinahanglan jud ta mag healthy living na ta, no? Especially magkatiguang na gid ni sa imong mama. Of course, I wish her well. Okay? So inay mama palihog nga get well soon. So kana, di ba? Because sometimes students will also communicate with personal matters towards you. Kung ano sila uban kadaghan, eh. So and then you have to kuan pagid, you have to um kanang you have to reject the communication or you don't seem interested. So luoy po ng estudyante basin ikaw na lang gani iyang kuan daganan for that problem. Okay, so that's why we are the kuan, we are a noble, we are under a noble profession. So because this is one of the things that we don't get to be paid for, you know, to help people. So posture, body movement, and hand gestures are among the primary body language factors that contribute to interpersonal dynamics. So a dynamic communicator stands tall but relaxed, moves their body naturally and calmly, and uses natural hand gestures to highlight certain points or to support action words. A smile, eye contact, and a relaxed facial expression convey confidence. When a listener senses confidence from a message sender, it increases the likelihood he will buy into the message. Vocal expression is another nonverbal factor of interpersonal dynamics. So an assertive tone, good volume, a relaxed pace, emphasis, and inflection all impact a message. A person can change the entire construct of a sentence just by adjusting the points of inflection. Diba? So muna siya nga, we have to manage our interpersonal dynamics. Another important element is the relationship between a person's words and nonverbal messages. So honest, clear, and well-received communication occurs when words and body language closely match. So when they don't, a listener may infer that the speaker is uncertain or dishonest. All right. Now, um, I'm pretty sure that you are very familiar with portfolios, but according to the module we constructed, we found out that portfolios can be considered as a communication medium. So it can be used to communicate. And the question is why? Why is portfolio a way to communicate towards the teacher, especially if the student is the one making it? So before we'll answer that, let's take a look. What is exactly is the connection between portfolio, making it or considering that as an authentic assessment? So a portfolio is not a stack of student work that accumulates over a semester or a year. So rather, the portfolio comprises a deliberately chosen subset of student jobs. Purposefully choosing a student job involves determining what kind of story you want the portfolio to tell. For example, do you want to show or praise the success the student has made? So the portfolio may then include samples of the success the student has made. The portfolio may then include samples of earlier and later work. So often with the students reflecting on or evaluating progress. And also, do you want the portfolio to capture the learning and development process, sorry. And the student and or instructor may then pick objects that demonstrate the development of one or more skills, focusing on the process that contributed to that development? Or do you want the portfolio to showcase the finished products or the student's best work? So in that case, the portfolio will undoubtedly include samples that better exemplify the student's existing ability to apply applicable information and skills. So the decisions on the assignment of portfolios begin with the form of story or the intent of the portfolio. So what is exactly is the intent of the portfolio? The teacher can be the one to determine that. And what exactly do they want to happen about the portfolio? So knowing what they want to happen about the portfolio will determine what things are to be placed in the portfolio. So just like for example here that you want the students to showcase or you want them to show a development process or you just want them to show their best work. Okay. So those can be themes that you can think about when you will let your students do a portfolio. You can even have it in a soft copy type or e-portfolio. Okay, so why is it authentic assessment? So it is where students thoughtfully apply their acquired skills to a new situation or environment. So assessments are authentic if they are realistic, require judgment and innovation, and assess students' ability to effectively use their knowledge or skills to complete a task. On the other hand, portfolio assessment is an evaluation tool used to document student learning a- uh, through through student developed artifacts and so katong mga evidences. So these are collection of student work that allows assessment by providing evidence of effort and accomplishments in relation to specific instructional goals. It is a systematic process and purposeful collection of student work to document the student learning progress, efforts, and achievement towards the attainment of learning outcomes and plan collection of learner achievement that documents what the student has accomplished and the steps taken to get there. Portfolio also engages students in assessing their progress and or accomplishments and establishing ongoing learning goals. Mechanically scored by teachers, mechanically scored or scored by teachers who have little input measures each student's achievement while allowing for individual differences between students. Assesses all students on the same dimension. Represents a collaborative approach to assessment process is not collaborative and has a goal of student self-assessment. So student assessment is not a goal that addresses should be student assessment is not a goal, but it addresses improvement, effort, and achievement. It also addresses achievement only and links assessment and teaching to learning um, in where it separates learning, testing, and teaching. Authentic assessment starts with clear, definite criteria of performance made known to the students. It is a criterion reference rather than norm reference, and so it identifies and strengths and weaknesses, but does not compare students nor rank their levels of performance. It requires students to make their own answer to questions rather than select from given options as in multiple choice items, and requires them to use a range of higher order thinking skills. So often emphasizes performance and therefore students are required to demonstrate their knowledge, skills, or competencies in appropriate situations. Authentic assessment does not rely on ability to recall facts or memorize details. Instead, students are asked to demonstrate skills and concepts that they have learned. On the other hand, it encourages both teacher and students to determine the rate of progress in cooperatively attaining the desired student learning outcomes. Authentic assessment does not encourage rote learning and passive taking of tests. Instead, students are required to demonstrate analytical skills, ability to integrate what they learn, creativity, and ability to work in group, skills in oral and written communications. In brief, authentic assessment values not only the finished products, which are the learning outcomes, but also the process of learning. So that's why um, we can definitely say that portfolio really is an authentic assessment because it does represent realistic evidences of our learners, especially that they will show their learning evidences. And by that, it describes them realistically and holistically. So once we are going to have our students make their own portfolio, so of course we should determine criteria. We should determine what we are going to look for. So in that case, we need to know what exactly are the key components of portfolios. First one is we may have to include them the cover letter, table of contents, entries, dates, drafts, and reflections. So what I can highlight here is will definitely be the entries because of course the entries is actually the most important one. So the student portfolio entries can be either core or optional. Core entries are items that must be included by the student, while optional are student entries of choice. Core elements provide a common basis for making assessment decisions, and optional items allow each student to represent his or her uniqueness. So you may determine to um, you may have to identify which of them is the core or which of them is the optional. But of course, this is we can consider this as um, the the unod, no? Unod sa ilang output. So this is actually what we're going to focus about. Okay, so you have to let them emphasize that this is what we're going to look for, aside from a very um, artistic cover letter, aside from including the table of contents to make it very, very organized. Um, and of course, the dates should also be stated to show when it happened, when these evidences um, happened, and of course, the drafts, in where drafts are the draft oral, and written products, and revised versions must be included in the portfolio as well, especially if you're going to make a portfolio that focuses on the process of development. So you must also have that because you can also because it talks about the process so from the draft after the final output. Okay, and of course, reflection can be the last part in where the students can make their what they can say about their learning development, and where the reflection can present the learning process on how they can on how they come up with the learning, no? Of your subject. So these can be one of the key components you can look for the portfolio. Now, here are exactly some examples or models that we can follow when we will let our students make a portfolio. So we can have them make a showcase portfolio in where it consists of work samples chosen by the students. So, may tabuan niya di ay, the students will be the one to show. Siya ay magpili. Okay? Siya magpili kung unsa iyang gusto. So, natingali mga outputs ani nga dili niya pwede mabutang. Kaya dili tingali siya um, dili siya okay nga kuan siya apilon, no? So, dili siya comfortable including it. A descriptive model, it consists of representative work of the student with no attempt at evaluation. And the evaluative model consists of representative products that have been evaluated by criteria. So, yan. And of course, we can also have a working portfolio. So what is a working portfolio? This type of portfolio is also known as teacher-student portfolio, which aids in communication between teacher and students. It contains the work in progress, like the finished samples of work used to reflect on the process by the students and teachers. From the name itself, working, so it means that it contains work in progress as well as the finished samples of work used to reflect in process by the students and teachers. It documents the students' day-to-day works that reflects their learning. So moreover, through working portfolio, it recognizes the students' needs. Both students and teachers have evidence of students' weaknesses and strengths in attaining learning objectives and other information, which is extremely useful in designing future instruction. So in this case, the students should show up-to-date outputs that will, again, represent the process of development. And at the same time, once the teacher will see the results or the evidences that the students place in the portfolio, they will then reflect from it. Of course, the teachers will also reflect from it. And then by that, um, they will make some changes if needed, again, for future instruction. So they can sense that, okay, most of my students submitted their working portfolio saying that they really had struggles with this part of the subject. So for future instruction actions, so we can make some changes and focus more on the areas in where the students had their difficulties. Diba? Okay. Another one is showcase portfolio. So the showcase portfolio is where the best works, we can say that it is the best works portfolio or display portfolio, and where the students are really encouraged to present their best works, no? Exhibit nila ilang best performances. And then, of course, this type of portfolio, um, we mostly the teachers will have this very done in a very artistic manner. The portfolio should be presented very lively, very entertaining, and of course, rich with rich with rich with positive outputs. So muna siya nga, it's showcase kay ipakita mo natin, so why should we put our learning evidences na katong mga gagmay of scores. So muna siya po. Okay? So in this kind of portfolio, it highlights student success, good, and showcase the accomplishments they had over a period of time. Yeah? So moreover, showcase portfolio can encourage self-assessment and build self-esteem among the students, for it displays students' best works, which makes students proud. So muna siya. And of course, creativity and their individuality is going to be showcased as well. How about progress portfolio? So this type of portfolio is also known as teacher alternative assessment portfolio. So it contains examples of students' work with the same types done over a period of time. So it contains examples of students' work with the same types done over a period. Sorry, all the works of the students in this type of portfolio are scored, rated, ranked, and evaluated. So teachers can keep individual student portfolios that are solely for the teachers' use as an assessment tool. So this focus type of portfolio and is a model approach to assessment. So this type of portfolio is used to document student learning on specific curriculum outcomes and used to determine the extent of mastery in any curricular area. So portfolios can also be very good to, let's say, teachers help be organized in checking the papers. No, so maybe you can have them portfolio so that on the last day or before the end of the semester, you can submit their portfolio, and then you can see all of the outputs. And then that is where you're going to check or do the recording. I mean, that can also be possible, no? And of course, why do we have to use why do we have to utilize portfolio in our classroom? Well, of course, there are actually uses. So it can provide both formative and summative opportunities. And portfolios can communicate concrete information about what is expected of the uh, students in terms of the content and quality of performance in specific curriculum areas. And a portfolio allows students to document aspects of their learning that do not show up well in traditional assessments. And portfolios are useful to showcase periodic or end of the year accomplishments of students, such as in poetry, reflections and growth, samples of best works, etc. Diba? So portfolios may also be used to facilitate communication between teachers and parents regarding their child's achievement and progress in a certain period of time. So the administrator may use portfolio for national competency testing to grant high school credit and to evaluate education programs. And portfolios may be assembled for combination of purpose such as instructional enhancement, and progress documentation. And lastly, we have the e-portfolio. So um, it is also known that as electronic portfolios, which used to collect students' work, still the same. So in traditional portfolios, it only consists of papers and folders. Sometimes gani dagko ra kayo or bugat ra kayo. That's why teachers will really resort to e-portfolios. We can do a text-based or through blog or multimedia recordings and demonstrations, interviews, presentation, and graphics can be a way to make your portfolio. And of course, we can also really do digital type, like we can use different applications, na gani for cell phones, na pud for laptops like Canva. You can make your portfolio there, or hyperlinking. You can also use that sa imuhang kuan. If wala ka internet, you can do hyperlinking na lang, which is very, very basic. And moreover, e-portfolios allow asynchronous use for both students and faculty, and it provides students the opportunity to improve as well as their skills in technology. Di ba? Dagang kisag makuha. And so especially in this time of pandemic, or in the future education schemes among universities, um, we can always opt to hold online virtual classes like Google Classroom, Zoom, and other online educational application. E-portfolios also exist online and support students' learning. So with the use of e-portfolios, students generate knowledge as they provide an opportunity and virtual space to support them to critically assess and reflect on their academic works. It should be noted that a good e-portfolio should be more than just a collection of products, but is also a way to assess students' learning in connection to the outcomes, and help students reflect on what they learned, how they learned it, and how much they learned, which derives them to construct new meaning throughout of their existing learning. Thus, ePortfolio is an effective learning tools for students because it can help students develop new or deeper learning, which results in higher grades and help them develop a better sense of themselves as a learner. Okay, so for future teachers, so kamu tingali, once you will have your own classroom someday, or once you will handle students, so it depends on you whether you will have it with any types of portfolio that you want. You can always focus on what should be in the portfolio, and whether you want it done digitally, or do you really have to submit a concrete output. So it depends on you. So it may also have advantages and disadvantages, especially when you talk about e-portfolio. It may sometimes the what they have submitted may need an internet connection. Okay, you may need your data, but of course, at the same time, if you will do the traditional way of making a portfolio, it can also become costly because they have to make or buy something to gather all their outputs and put it in a portfolio. Okay, but of course, more of the advantage, if you want to have students showcase and see the progress of their learning towards your subject, so portfolio really is one of the best tools that you can have, especially that this assessment process definitely can help you communicate and understand your learners well. All right, so I believe that is the last slide. So thank you very much, guys, for your time. And I'll be seeing you on my next recording. Thank you very much.